Well, the second half of the season is upon us. Tomorrow, the 49ers will have their first official game week practice of week 10, getting ready for Sunday night football against the San Diego Chargers. And I said San Diego on purpose. I know it's the LA Chargers, but it's going to be in my head. The San Diego Chargers, just like old times, coming and visiting Levi Stadium on Sunday night to check out a 49ers team that I think might be ready for a second half surge based on everything that we've been able to gather so far. So today I'm going to talk about the $1 million question facing the 49ers defense. And I wrote about it on The Athletic, came out this morning. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and the 49ers defense, a midseason efficiency evaluation. If you want to follow along, we're going to go ahead and post this in the comment section right now. It already is in the description for you. That's the Nick Bosa picture following his sack of Matthew Stafford the last time that the 49ers played a game, and they beat the Rams 31-14. I think a lot of fans enjoyed that little confused look from Nick Bosa. And, it's a good picture to toss in with an article like this one about the $1 million question surrounding the 49ers. So what is the $1 million question? Well, I think it's one of who's this unit all about? Because we've seen two 49ers defenses so far. Just take a look at this right here. Red is good, blue is bad. On the left side, you have the game. So red means the 49ers lost it. Blue means that the 49ers won it. This is EPA per game from respective units. So in the first column, you have the 49ers offense. In the second column, you have the 49ers defense. In the third column, you have their special teams. Anything above 0 is going to be in the blue. Higher above 0, darker blue. Anything below 0, if that unit delivered a negative contribution, it's going to be in the red, progressing into the darker red. So, for example, the 49ers offense was terrible against the Bears in the monsoon in week 1. You see a dark red there. They were even worse against the Broncos in week 3. You see a very dark red there. But on the flip side, the offense was really good against the Seahawks. Against the defense was really good against the Seahawks, against the Broncos, against the Rams, against the Panthers. And the offense was good against the Rams, against the Panthers, most recently against the Rams in week 8. The jarring change in all of these patterns right here, there's, I think, just one of them, is the defense and what the heck happened to it from week 5 against the Panthers when it put up nearly plus 2 touchdowns of an effort. That means the 49ers defense was worth about 2 touchdowns in that game, plus 13.22 expected points, versus the next week when they were in the negatives, 11.56 against the Falcons, and then even worse, a staggeringly bad game against the Chiefs, negative 30.58 against the Chiefs. The 49ers against the Chiefs put together this right here, this ghastly number, minus 30.58 expected points. That was the 49ers' worst defensive performance since 2006. Easily the worst of the Shanahan-Lynch era. So the $1 million question is, what's the story with this 49ers defense? They were almost historically good right here, weeks 1 through 5. They were giving up less than 9 points per game. I discount the special teams points the 49ers allowed, the safety they allowed in week 3, and I just look at the defensive allowance. It's like 8.6 points allowed per game. And amazing EPA marks. They're generating 2 touchdowns worth, at least 2 possessions worth of expected points in 4 consecutive weeks. But then they just drop off a complete cliff against the Falcons and then the Chiefs. Now, the game against the Rams, that's slightly in the red. But as we know, the game against the Rams was a tale of 2 halves. The 49ers were bad in the first, so they took some of these 2 games' performances in the first half, although they didn't give up nearly the yardage they did in the Chiefs game. They were just giving up many third down conversions. But in the second half, the 49ers turned it up and they went back into this mode, into the mode of the blue. They only gave up a grand total of 58 yards of total offense in the second half. So we ask, what the heck happened? Which 49ers defense can we expect the rest of the way? Because that's going to be an operative question for this team moving forward. And I think it's very clearly health related. They were missing 7 starters on the defensive side of the ball for this game against Atlanta when they first went into the red. It was coming off of the Emmanuel Mosley injury against Carolina. They're also missing Nick Bosa. They got a lot of the starters back against the Chiefs, but I think it was really clear that they were compromised still either by the injury or by the byproduct of the injury, and that's not getting a lot of practice time in that week against the Chiefs. And then the first half against the Rams down here, I guess you guys can't see it. The first half against the Rams. Let's erase this off the screen. First half against the Rams down here, minus 3.37. Also bad, but they figured it out in the second half. And that's why that second half of the Rams game is such a significant thing to me, because entering the bye week, the 49ers left us with a good taste in our mouths, right? Where you watch this team and you think it's completely rotten when you see the games against the Falcons and the Chiefs and the injury issues. And then the first half of the Rams game, you're like, oh, this is all just circling down the toilet right now. But the second half of the Rams game for the defense, I think, suggested that the 49ers are on their way back. Are they for sure on their way back? Nobody knows that, certainly, but that second half certainly suggested it. So that's the $1,000,000 question facing the 49ers defense. Are they back? Are they going to be back into the mode of the blue, or are they going to be in the mode of the red? And I think it's a very health dependent question. And when we talk about health and its potential impacts on this unit, well, specifically the 49ers interior pass rush has to improve. This is part of my article right here. This is the 49ers pass rush productivity. And again, blue is good, red is bad. Above this line right here, I have edge rushers. Below the line, I have defensive tackles. As you can tell, there's plenty of blue up here in pass rush productivity. Nick Bosa, number 1 in the entire NFL. Amenahu, number 20. Ebukam, number 29. Even Drake Jackson is generating some pressure. I think he'll soon crack the blue. But under this dividing line, all the defensive tackles, it's all red. There's not enough of an interior pass rush for the 49ers. And this doesn't even get into the fact that the run defense, I don't think, has been as good as it's going to need to be against elite competition moving forward. So the interior pass rush must improve, and the conduit to that is going to have to be the return of Eric Armstead, potentially the return of Javon Kinlaw. And that is something, both of those things obviously seem tenuous if you follow this 49ers team. To improve the bottom half of this graph, if you want to add some blue in there, I absolutely think in the wide nine, you're going to need contributions and significant ones from Eric Armstead and or Javon Kinlaw. But as we know, Kinlaw's knee's been a question mark through and through. They say they're learning how to manage it post ACL surgery. We'll see if they're right. And Eric Armstead has the plantar fasciitis and what seems to be a related ankle injury. As you can tell here, Armstead's pass rush productivity this year has not been what it normally has been. And I get it because he's been dealing with the foot injury. But the 49ers need to hope that all improves. At the very least, they want to make sure that their defensive tackles improve in how they play the run. Right now, they're using a lot of second string, reserve kind of guys, and the 49ers are going to need to crawl out of that. They're going to need to make sure that they get their Ferraris back up front. So that's key number 1, to make sure that the defense improves moving into the second half. Key 2 right here, the 49ers are one piece short in the secondary. That doesn't mean that are going to be one piece short forever. But with Emmanuel Mosley, as you can tell right here, hurt. Mosley is right here, second row. He's hurt. He had a good catch percentage allowed, just like Charvarius Ward. The 49ers have had to slot Deommodore Lenoir up into that cornerback position. Lenoir hasn't been great. As you can tell right here, 82% catch rate allowed. That's below average. The 49ers would certainly love if Jason Verrett can come back, slot into that second cornerback position. Then Lenoir can go back to the nickel back spot. And then once Lenoir is in that nickel back spot, because you've got the 2 outside cornerback positions locked down, just like the 49ers did when Mosley was healthy, then you can get creative with nickel back solutions. Because one of the great benefits the 49ers have right now is their safety position is covering well. Look at the catch percentages allowed by Talanoa Hufanga and Tashawn Gibson. Both really good. Run defense grades, both also good. Gibson especially good. The weakness at safety is Hufanga has missed 13 tackles. It's a high missed tackle rate, 22.8%. But Tashawn Gibson hasn't missed any tackles. So the 49ers have the benefit of having 2 good, cohesive safeties right now. And that means that Jimmy Ward, who's kind of the joker of this defense, he's coming back from that hand injury. Cast is probably going to come off within a couple of weeks. Jimmy Ward is their best available cover man, and that means that Jimmy Ward can slot in for Lenoir at nickelback, but only if Jason Verrett makes his return sooner rather than later. That might happen this weekend against the Chargers. That's how you fill in that one piece in the secondary, because you are a little bit short right now. Then finally, last point, Fred Warner. He's been absolute glue for the 49ers this year. They're going to have to defend the screen passes, right? The screen game is going to be something that opposing offenses rely on heavily, because we saw the pass rush numbers from the edge rushers. They're good. So they're going to be beating defensive tackles. If the 49ers interior rush gets any better, well, that means that even more screen passes are going to come. And if the 49ers do well against the run game, well, then opponents are going to try to use the screen passes to mimic the run game, right? To mimic the effect of the run game and take the steam out of the pass rush. And that's going to put so much pressure on the 49ers linebackers to A, make open field tackles on these screen passes, but B, if the 49ers need a little extra juice in their interior rush, because we saw right here, look at all this red down at the bottom. That means the interior rush is lagging. Well, the way that you fix an interior rush is by adding a little bit of a blitz. And the 49ers have blitzed 20 times this year with Fred Warner, and he's delivered 8 pressures out of that. If you take a look at the pass rush productivity for Fred Warner right here, 20.0, that is the best of his career. He had good pass rush productivities in 2019, 14.0, 2020, 10.6. 20.0 so far here in this half season is the best of Fred Warner's career. And his missed tackle rate is also the best that he's ever delivered at only 4.4%. So Warner's been awesome. The catch percentage is also the best. This is the best season that we've seen statistically for Fred Warner. And that is glue, because I talk about potential issues along the line of scrimmage, along the interior. Hopefully the 49ers can get Armstead, Kinlaw back, all that good stuff. And I talk about potential issues on the back end as it relates to Jason Verrett and his potential return. Hopefully the 49ers can get stronger at outside corner. That's what they hope, right? So that they can slot Jimmy Ward in wherever. You look at those two issues on opposite ends of the defense. Well, the middle is Fred Warner, and he does everything. He can cover Cooper Kupp like he did in week 4, and he can blitz like he did in week 8 with great effectiveness. And he can also run around and tackle, and he's doing it at the best clip of his career. So Warner in the middle is what can bind this 49ers defense together. And if this defense can bind together, then you're looking at them reversing the trend in the middle column here. It was blue, 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 and then it dropped into red. You got to get it back into the blue over the final 9 games of this season. So that's primarily what I wrote about, but obviously in much more detail. As you can see, Nick Bosa is the cover on this piece, so make sure you check it out. I'll answer a couple questions, but I'm tired tonight, so we're going to check out some TV or whatever a little bit later. I'm just going to go lounge for a little bit. So I'm happy to answer a couple questions about this article. Hopefully you guys are all able to get up there and subscribe to The Athletic. All right, let's see. I don't think Keenan Allen's going to play. Last I saw, no Keenan Allen. The main weapon for the Chargers is Justin Herbert. I mean, Herbert, he's got arm talent. He can move. He can run a little bit. He could sling it a little bit downfield. So no Keenan Allen. That really would help the 49ers, obviously, because Keenan Allen is a stud. Austin Eckler obviously is a stud for the Los Angeles Chargers, asterisk the San Diego Chargers. But I think the biggest weapon is the QB in this case. And I know that Herbert has struggled over the past few weeks. People haven't been all too impressed with him, but physically he has a lot of tools to give the 49ers trouble, especially if they, don't contain him to the pocket. He can move. That's the thing. He can move, and he's got a big arm, so he could deliver with that big arm while he moves, and he can make guys who might be no names look like good targets because of the ability to deliver off schedule like that. So Herbert might be a handful for the 49ers this week, and that's going to be the first test for this defense as they go down the back 9, looking to morph into the unit that we saw over the front 5. Yeah, Charvarius Ward is the number 1 cornerback against the run. I talked about that in a video a little bit earlier today. No missed tackles this year, highest PFF grade of any cornerback or safety against the run. That's a big thing about this game, and I talked about this in a video this morning. The Chargers are giving up 5.7 per carry, which is nearly historically bad. The 49ers run defense, meanwhile, is number 1 in the NFL, giving up only 3.4 per carry. So I know I'm not talking about the 49ers offense, but in this game, the 49ers offense should have some running room against the Chargers defense. And hey, the best defense can be a good offense, right? And ball control. That's what the 49ers look to do through complementary football. So that can help give their defense some extra juice as well. Am I worried about right tackle? Well, the 49ers aren't getting great pass protection from Mike McGlinchey, that's for sure, but they are getting good run blocking from him. And the thing is that right guard is a little bit more of a concern to me right now. They're running the timeshare between Spencer Burford and Daniel Brunskill. Brunskill's been a little bit better by the metrics, but Burford probably has a higher ceiling as a rookie. What I'm really curious about is how much does that right tackle position surge or the right guard position surge with Spencer Burford seemingly being raw enough to make big strides over the course of the back nine? Because if right guard gets better with Spencer Burford, two things become possible. One, Mike McGlinchey looks better in pass protection by extension because those two positions are obviously neighboring and connected. And two, if Burford gets better at right guard, if he grows there, Daniel Brunskill can potentially be a rover that can fill in for McGlinchey if and when that's needed at right tackle. And right now, the 49ers' hands are tied. Right now, Brunskill can't play right tackle because they're running the timeshare at right guard because Spencer Burford needs more seasoning time. So they're really desperately trying to get Burford up to 100% speed, something that is better than what he's at now. And I'll make a video in the future taking a look at the metrics for the offensive line because they're really interesting. But that timeshare at right guard right now is eating up a lot of 49ers resources. And you'd like to free up Daniel Brunskill. The goal is to get Burford to perform at a level where you free up Brunskill so that Brunskill can potentially help you also at right tackle or wherever else injuries may dictate. Brett won't be his 2020 self if he plays this year. Maybe not. I'm not sure, but maybe he will be. You know, it's tough to know, especially coming off these ACLs. But the 49ers gave Verrett a lot of time to come back, and he's looking better and better as far as movement at practice. And we'll see what happens if he does come back out there. If he is his 2020 self, it's probably going to be lights out for this 49ers defense against opposing offenses. But if he's 80% of that, that's still significant for the 49ers because of what I illustrated. Do I think that the 49ers can average more than 30 points a game with McCaffrey and Mitchell now added to the mix? Absolutely. They scored 31 against the good Rams defense, and I think that the 49ers, I mean, they've been good for several straight weeks offensively, at least the quarterback position. Since that Denver game, Jimmy Garoppolo's been playing really well. He's the point guard, and now he's got his weapons. We'll talk more about the offense a little bit later, but McCaffrey being the outlet man that he is, that's potentially dangerous for the 49ers. I mean, I put this back up on the screen. This is what I mean. 49ers offense, ever since the Denver game, which is, maybe I need to widen this up for you. Denver game right here. Bad performance, minus 16.39. Rams game good. Panthers game good. Even the Falcons game, above average EPA. And remember, there were drops in there. It wasn't Jimmy Garoppolo's fault against the Falcons. Chiefs game, good enough. I mean, it's you can't have a historically bad defensive performance and think that you're going to beat the Chiefs. 49ers offense has not put together a truly bad game since week 3. And then obviously they were gangbusters against the Rams, plus 23.18. They're going to get Elijah Mitchell back for this game as well. So that should be fascinating for the 49ers. Tommy Huxley wants the 49ers to feed Elijah Mitchell. He was grabbing 6 yards a carry, God damn it. Well, feed Elijah Mitchell, feed Christian McCaffrey. You've got options now. Jeff Wilson, obviously, in Miami. Deebo Samuel and Kyle Juszczyk back in the mix. That's right for the 49ers. All right, any more questions? Can be a shorter show tonight. Back to the work week tomorrow. Going to be a lot of fun. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, back out at the 49ers facility. Saturday off. They're going to have a walkthrough. Sunday night football. Going to give us a chance to watch a lot of other games before the 49ers take the field against Herbert and the Chargers on Sunday night. Isn't it weird with the daylight savings time ending? It gets dark early. It's 7:51 p.m. right now. That's the time, 7:51. It felt like 11 p.m. at 5:30, right? So I decided to go a little bit earlier just to give everybody who's really tired some benefit here. I hate when daylight savings time ends. I hope they abolish it completely. I heard that it wastes a ton of energy every year because you have most of the people aren't night shift workers. Most people don't work the graveyard shift. So people are up for an extra hour when it's dark. So they have to turn on lights everywhere and around the world. When you multiply that, it obviously uses a ton of energy. it just, to me, it just like makes me tired. I'm like, what's going on? It needs to be midnight already, and it's only 9 p.m. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Niner faithful agrees. He just fell asleep and he woke up. I'm not a fan. You do gain that extra hour, but it's not worth the cost that you pay here over the next couple of months. That is for sure. Michael McCoy thinks that Talanoa Hufanga is going to have a nice game against the Chargers, and for that, I'll reopen the secondary sheet here. Talanoa Hufanga at the very bottom. You see good catch percentage allowed, good run defense grade. He's been in good position, 3 interceptions. The one thing that's bad with Tano Funga is the missed tackle rate. He has 13 missed tackles, 22.8% missed tackle rate. That's higher than average. It's not good. The 49ers need that to be better. So he's been impressive. He's been in the right spot, but he's got to shore up that tackling technique. That is the book on Talanoa Hufanga right now. Too bad we won't see Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa in the same game. 49ers probably not too torn up about that because no Joey Bosa, no Austin Johnson, who's the best run-stopping defensive tackle on this Chargers team, and it's already the worst run defense in football if you go by yards per carry allowed. So the 49ers probably happy that there's no Joey Bosa. But yes, from a fan perspective, it would be cool to see both of those guys. I think Matt Barrows was talking about it on our podcast. Nick Bosa's mom, Cheryl, she had a custom-made jersey where there's a 9 on one side for the red, the Niners side, and then the Chargers side of the jersey is the Chargers colors, and there's a 7, the 9 and the 7. Maybe she still wears it to this game, but with Joey not playing, I don't think that the Bosas, John and Cheryl, will be nearly as conflicted entering this game. All right. Thoughts on Odell Beckham Jr.? I know that Kyle Shanahan loves Odell Beckham Jr. I also know that the Cowboys seem to be completely infatuated with him. If it's a bidding war, then the 49ers are going to have a tough time beating the Cowboys. But maybe they will really want him. I do know that OBJ won't be available to play probably until December. So if the 49ers do sign him, it's probably a sign and stash right now. And you probably assume or you hedge against injuries to guys like Deebo Samuel. And in that way, Odell Beckham Jr. can't make you worse, at least in the short term. But you have to have a limit to how much you potentially spend here. Otherwise, it can hurt you in the long term, right? And if Dallas is willing to outbid everybody, then Dallas is willing to outbid everybody. But I do know Shanahan loves Odell Beckham Jr. We will see just how much he likes him. I also know that he loved Julio Jones, but there were questions about Julio Jones later in his career with injuries. Saw the Titans give up a ton of trade capital for him. The 49ers obviously didn't match that last year. So it's very, very dependent on stuff like that. And yes, Odell Beckham Jr. probably wants a multi-year deal. The question is, will he get a multi-year deal from anybody? He's coming off the ACL. He just turned 30 the other day. Maybe prove it is the way that he has to go this season. I'm not sure. We will see. They can't trade Jimmy Garoppolo next year to answer this question because he's under contract only through this season. So to keep Jimmy Garoppolo, they would have to re-sign him next year. That is completely unwritten at this point. If Jimmy Garoppolo keeps on playing the way that he's playing now and the 49ers make the Super Bowl, well, then obviously the chances are that they're going to try to re-sign him. But if this starts going south and the 49ers don't go anywhere in the postseason, I think it's very apparent that they're going to turn the page and hope that Trey Lance comes back full strength next year. If that isn't possible, then maybe you sign some other veteran as a stopgap. I don't know. But I think that Jimmy Garoppolo's future with the 49ers, as it always has been now, throughout this, when this started, when Trey Lance went down and Jimmy Garoppolo took over, we said, well, let's see what Jimmy Garoppolo does this year. And then the 49ers will cross the quarterback decision bridge when they get to it. They're going to maintain as much option power as possible. You think that San Diego will be tired next week? Yeah, but here's one thing. The Falcons just played against the Chargers, right? And we know the Falcons just like to suck the air out of the game. They like to run, 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 run. They take some of the 49ers formula. The Chargers did beat Atlanta, but they had to play on the East Coast, and they had to play the Falcons style of game. And they got away with one against the Falcons. They got that win by a point there at the end. But the 49ers are coming off a bye, and the Chargers aren't. And that's probably an advantage 49ers in this game. Hell yeah, we're going to call them San Diego. Oh, man. I'm really thirsty. This is some good water, too. Nirvana Muscle Wellness Water. Good stuff. All right. I'm going to show you guys my article one more time, and then I'm going to sign off. This is it right here. Hope you like the Frank Gore jersey. Frank Gore and Andrew Luck. Two teams that I've covered, or two. I don't want to say I haven't covered the Colts. I covered Stanford, but Andrew Luck was at Stanford. I covered them. And then obviously I wasn't covering the 49ers when Frank Gore was with the 49ers, but he's been on the podcast before. He's got a very nice jersey there. So I like the color balance. The 17 jersey is right below me right now. Can't show you guys that jersey yet. Today we got the 21 and the 12 little inverse numbers for you. Anyway, let's take off this San Diego comment that I have. Hide it. Subscribe to The Athletic. Go right here. Check out Nick Bosa and company. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, all those guys. I will post that into the comments section for you. There you go. Check it out. All right, everybody. Thank you. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. It was fun talking some 49ers defense. Which unit will we see moving forward? That is the $1,000,000 question, but I think that health is wealth for this team, and they're healing up right now. You get guys like Armstead back and you stay healthy. Might be really good news for the 49ers defense moving forward. All right, everybody take care. Thanks for watching.